you all get that little message, you know, and everything like that. And I'd like to introduce Leah, but before I do that, I just want I'm gonna kind of go down here, and I think I got everybody on here. Linda, you want to tell them where you're from?
Linda Neiseth from Amity, Oregon, which is about 20 miles from Salem.
Okay, and the other Linda.
Linda Hanbury from Pekin, Mississippi. I can
All
get
right,
to Leah in less than an hour.
all right. Loretta,
From Prineville, Oregon.
Bonnie,
Klamath Falls, Oregon.
and let's see, I got Wanda.
Wanda's from Mount Jewett, Tennessee, right outside of Nashville.
Yeah,
Oh, very good.
I went through there last year too. Marion
Klamath Falls, Oregon.
and Marja.
Portland, Oregon.
Okay, and I got a Jentz. Is that Jens? I don't know.
Franziska.
I'm sorry,
The first name is Franziska.
Franziska. Okay. And Pat, I see Pat Kudos come on. Pat,
Yes. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
and you're in Hawaii, so we can see that on there. All right. Well, anyway, I'd like to introduce.
We had Faith Spencer just popped on too.
Oh, she did. Yeah, I saw Faye come on there. And Faye, where are you from?
Kansas, center of the states.
Center of the States. Yep. Well, anyway, I'd like to welcome everybody here, and I'm excited about this. Leah did one before, and she's got a couple others scheduled later on, and she's a very, very, very busy person, as I can tell. But you know, if you want something done, ask a busy person, and they'll take care of you. And Leah is in Mississippi, and I'll let her introduce herself a little bit more on that. And she did one before, and if you have not seen it yet, you need to go watch it. It's been recorded. It's on cybersecurity for seniors, and it was excellent. And I'm sure this is going to be a great one today. I'm kind of excited to listen to this. And so I'll turn the time over to you, Leah, and I'm actually going to spotlight her so you guys can see it even better.
Scott, do you have it? I got a little notice. I need to share my screen in a minute. Am I going to be able to do that? It said host has.
Right. I'll make you a co-host.
Okay, very good. And then I'll be able to share it. Okay, very good. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm glad to be with you today. I enjoy being with the group and being part of the group and talking to the group and learning from the group. I've seen some wonderful presentation topics come through. I always intend to be there. I usually miss, but it's not because I haven't seen the topic and I'm not interested. I'm just running to catch up with my own life right now. And I'm actually a librarian, the head librarian, the manager at Bay St. Louis Library Branch in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. We're right here on the water, the Gulf of Mexico. I'm on the far west corner of the state of Mississippi on your way to Louisiana. And this month I'm transitioning to become the manager at the Diamondhead location of the Hancock County Library System, which is where I live, which is about 20 minutes north of here. So it's an exciting time. It's a busy time. I'm a retired college English professor. Did that for between that and high school teaching, did that for over 25 years. And as many people did, I sort of took the opportunity called quarantine. You remember quarantine? Everybody kind of sat around and said, what else could I do? And so I'm very blessed to have wandered into the library system and the wonderful people of the Hancock County Library System. So I invite you all to come this way and look me up if you're ever on coastal Mississippi. So I've been here for about just a little over 2 years, and it's a fast-paced gig, and I love it. I love it. So again, I'm happy to be with you. What I have for you, if I can share my screen. What I have for you today is a presentation. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay. I have a presentation for you today that is an installment from, I run a class here at the library called True Crime Mondays. And it's kind of a deep dive into the world of poor behavior. And we talk about strange crimes, goofy crimes, mysteries, some that are very high profile, like the Murdaugh murders in South Carolina that's been in the recent headlines, and some that aren't well known but probably should be. So it's just whatever comes across my desk that I pick up. I'm always surprised at how many others are similarly sitting around thinking about this stuff. So we have a small group and growing. So the presentation I have for you today is an installment in this particular True Crime Monday series. And this presentation is on the phenomenon called phrogging. I'm going to talk to you about what this is. The presentation is not meant in any way to keep you awake at night. It's not intended to frighten you, scare you to death. It shouldn't do that. What I would like it to do is what I would like all of my my goal for all of my presentations is to raise awareness and teach something new, something to be on your radar. But it's not something that I intend to unnerve you to it's not a violent presentation, although there are instances of violence. I'll also let you know up front that there are a couple of images that can be a little disturbing, a little unnerving. This phenomenon is about people hiding unhoused people in our society who seek to meet their needs of food and shelter by surreptitiously borrowing safe spaces that are already occupied by homeowners. So just the idea that I don't even know how to say that without it being a little bit eyebrow raising. So there are one or two disturbing images and quotations that I'm going to use as evidence and factual documentation, but everything is put into context for you, and certainly ask questions as we go along. But this is not something that I think is happening to everybody on this call right this minute. We do not all have right this minute people hiding and living in our walls. Okay? That's not what's happening, but it is an interesting phenomenon that stems from a perfect storm of certain cultural and historical facts that are what they are. And these realities combine to create a situation in which people borrowing other people's houses without their knowledge has become a thing. Okay, so we'll talk about it culturally, historically, legally, and certainly the very personal connection and experience of those who have been frogged in the past. Okay, so let's jump in. And please ask questions. If something rings a bell with you, chime in. Don't forget to unmute yourself. And because we'd love to hear you have your contribution. So this is a frog mask, and I borrowed it from the pictology that informed the movie I See You, which we'll be touching on, which is a movie about a case of frogging, two teens living inside a family's home without their knowledge. And one of the teens happens to don a frog mask as he creeps around the family's home. So here you have the picture of an attic, an unoccupied space that can, with minimal adjustments, become highly inhabitable. So this is a rare but a real phenomenon in which folks secretly occupy a space. It can be an attic, a basement. It can even be on the property of your home, but not your home. It can be an outbuilding. It can be a storm cellar that you seldom go in, that you seldom use. It can be a fruit cellar. Spaces that go, are you like me? Do you have a room in your house that's probably kind of like a guest room, and you just close the vent and seal it off because you just never go in? It seems like we all have a room that's sort of a catch-all room or a bonus room. These are perfect locales for the potentiality of frogging. A frog is one who secretly moves into another's home or a business or an outbuilding while it's already occupied, with the intention to simply live there temporarily. It's never a frog's intent to move in permanently. That's called squatting. And we'll draw a very notable difference in just a moment between frogging and squatting, because they are very different phenomena. So this is an interesting add-on to this presentation, which I developed over a year ago. I've since gone back through. Back in the 40s, I came across a frogging event. It wasn't called frogging, but this gentleman, Theodore Connies, was down on his luck, and he needed a bit of cash, and he came by his friend Patrick's home to borrow some money. Patrick wasn't there. Apparently, Theodore, naughty boy, let himself in anyway, and he was scrounging around for money. There was an argument, and he departed, but then waited on another day for his buddy Patrick. What did I say his name was? Peter? Patrick? Patrick. To leave the home. Theodore entered again, found himself, gathered some things up, like you see here in this is a steel plate, a sketch, and you see he's got canisters. Looks like they might have milk bottles of food. He's got some cups here. I'm not sure what this arrow is pointing to, but this looks to be the space, the floorboard, perhaps, in which he is coming and going. He takes up residence in Patrick's house. He thinks one day that he hears the door close, and he He goes through the entry point there into Patrick's house, where he proceeds to scavenge and check out the ice box and gather some supplies. I mean, remember, he was at Patrick's house earlier because he wanted to ask to borrow some cash. The guy is down on his luck. He needs assistance. He needs life-sustaining assistance. And so he finds the spot. He mistakenly believes that Patrick is out. After he moves in, he sneaks down. He disturbs poor Patrick, who is taking a nap on the sofa. The two scuffle, and unfortunately, a fight proceeds, not unlike the first fight. Theodore Coneys grabs a cast iron shaker and his name is Peter, bludgeons Peter in the head. So this is a nice introduction to frogging, because it captures the essence of what I think is culturally the jumping off point for this behavior, and that is desperation, right? Humans will always find a way to get their needs met, and desperate times call for desperate measures. So this is a great jumping off point. It's a tight space. You see his clothing is tattered. This is a guy who cannot provide for himself externally, separate apart from borrowing the shelter of another. And this perfectly captures, I think, the real essence of frogging. Frogs do not intend for confrontation. Frogs intend to live the majority of the time peaceably and silently and discreetly, out of vision, out of sight. They just want to go amongst their way. When you and your kids, you go to school, you leave for work in the morning, they come down. They've been known to take showers in people's houses, to raid the refrigerator, use the toilet, any number of things. There was a short story that I recommended called No Forwarding Address, in which I think her frogger uses her washing machine and dryer while she's at work. So they aim to essentially not pay rent. They're living there. They're using everything you have. They just don't have the means to make it legal. And that's the essence of frogdom. Can I use that word, frogdom? Okay. So as far ago, as long back, and we say 1941, but who are we kidding? I mean, there's probably incidents on the record 500 years ago. I mean, cavemen probably hid inside other cavemen's caves, trying to get out of the elements. So we say that in the 40s, but this is a human behavior that probably at its core has been with us as long as humans have been trying to get out of the rain. Do you see, does that make sense? Okay. So the actual terminology, frogging and frogs, is a term that was used for, as a title of a small independent film. So used to sort of denote the way that leapfrogs, hop from pad to pad to pad. Right? Frogs hop from lily pad to lily pad. We know we call a pad a home. This is what they do. They don't stay long, because what do they not want? They don't want to be discovered. They're not looking to, as squatters frequently do, they're not looking to assert any legal claims to your home. They're just wanting to benignly borrow your home for a while. Okay, so it's called frogging. The term comes up again and is really cemented as part of the cultural lexicon when, as we saw, if we go up here, the titular character dons a frog mask. So I think that's the point in which frogging PH really enters the public consciousness and the public lexicon. This was there's a 2019 film called I See You, starring Helen Hunt. You may have seen it. Love me some Helen Hunt. Love you, Helen. Here's the movie. This is, I included this particular, can y'all see my cursor moving by any chance? Okay, I included this particular image because he's horizontal, because he's under the kids, one of the family's beds. Right? He's creeping out during the day. Maybe dad comes home for lunch instead of going out for lunch, and he doesn't have the time to scurry back upstairs into the attic bedroom inside the wall where he and his cohort, his female cohort, are crashing. Right? They're stowed away upstairs. He runs out of time. He dodges under the bed. And of course, this other image lets you know that he's not an actual frog. He's there borrowing your property. Oh, and by the way, sometimes frogs can move via your air ducts. And sometimes those air ducts allow some visibility, some observing of the family. That's kind of a creepy aspect, right? So you're not actually looking at a frog. He's actually looking, he can actually watch us. Woo! Are we all okay to go forward?
Yes.
Oh. Nobody's in having a cardiac event just yet, right? Okay, good. I didn't want that.
I love the pictures.
Okay, so there he is again. He's a teenager. He's in his hoodie, creeping around the bedroom. There's the comforter. Okay, so I liked this image from the movie because you get to see both characters. We see her actually in the upstairs bedroom attic where they are frogging, where they're hiding. This is her stowaway partner. And he's actually out on the ledge. He's actually on top of the house. He's on the roof. If you think about it, at night, what a wonderful way to pass the evening. A smoke and some fresh air. I mean, who's gonna know, right? Unless your neighbor comes out to walk his dog and looks exactly at the right angle, who's gonna know? So I thought this image sort of captured the essence of the added perks of being a frog, right? You get a free balcony for your evening de-escalating, your unwinding. I want to share with you a video. I call it the supremely creepy frogging video. I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to let you watch.
So I kept on finding food missing in my apartment that I knew I wasn't eating. I confronted my girlfriend who lives with me about it, and she claimed she wasn't eating it. So I decided I'm going to set up a video camera. I'm going to catch her.
Can y'all see this?
Well, we can see it. There's no video on it though. When you shared the screen, did you click the little boxes on the bottom of it?
Can you see this screen?
Yeah, we can see the screen. Supremely creepy frogging video.
Yes. Yeah, I clicked the box to make it full screen. Is that okay?
Yeah, but so the audio comes through real good on the recording. I learned that the very first time we did this.
So what do I need to do, Scott? Anything?
Yeah, go ahead and unshare, stop the share. And then when go back and go share it. And then when you see it, there's two little boxes on it. So go share again. And there's two little boxes that say something about video on it.
Yeah, we could see it then.
Stop share. And so if I go to share, do what, Scott?
Go ahead and the very first screen you open, before you double click on where you're at, there's two little boxes down on the bottom that say something about audio.
Oh, do I need to say share sound?
Yes.
Do I need to click optimize for video clip?
Yes. Click them both. And then,
All right, now
then go to your video, and then it'll. There we go. The audio's a lot better. So you see something.
Mississippi Medicaid?
what is this?
Low-cost health plan.
What about a plan that covers doctor visits?
Are y'all seeing that?
Emergency care?
No, we see a blue
There's
screen.
no picture on mine.
Enroll today for coverage starting.
Hang on.
Hey, we're fine. I keep telling people we're all amateurs. We're just trying to be professional.
Yeah, that's for
I
sure.
confronted the girl who lives with me about it, and she claimed she wasn't. So this is what I saw.
Can you, okay. Did everybody hear that? Because that's key.
Food missing my apartment that I knew I wasn't eating. I confronted my girlfriend.
We could hear it, but no picture.
So I decided
Why no
I'm gonna set up a
picture?
video camera to catch her.
Oh, no. Can you see a picture on your end?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know.
Okay, wait. Okay, wait. It says, okay. Can you see it now?
No picture.
So I kept on finding food missing in my apartment that I knew I wasn't eating. I confronted my girlfriend who lives with me about it, and she claimed she wasn't eating it. So I decided I'm going to set up a video camera. I'm going to catch her.
Can you see it
This
now?
is what I found.
Can y'all see it now?
No.
All right, hang on.
I don't know. We're
Just. All right, hang on. I got it.
okay.
I'm gonna stop this. I'm gonna stop that.
See, we're seeing a blue screen is all.
Can you see that?
Yeah, we see your PowerPoint.
Hang on a sec.
Yeah, we're fine. I've been here, done that.
Okay, so here, and then I'm gonna go resume share. I'm gonna go down here and we're gonna try this again, because this is an important segment.
So I kept on finding food missing.
Can
in
you
my
hear
apartment
it?
That I knew I wasn't eating.
Yes.
My girlfriend who lives with me about it, and she claimed she wasn't eating it. So I decided I'm going to set up a video camera. I'm going to catch her. This is what I found.
I can't hear it at all.
We can
Are
hear
y'all
it.
not hearing this?
We can hear it.
Can you see it?
No.
I can't see it. But I don't touch any computers. I don't know anything about it.
Scott, you can hear it?
Well, I could hear it when it was playing.
Can you see it, Scott?
No, just a blue screen.
What do you see now?
I see your screen that says supremely creepy frogging video. We can hear it.
Don't give up on me.
We're not. I'm not leaving.
Do you see the link? Supremely creepy.
Yeah, it's got a blue thing over it though, mostly.
So I kept on finding food missing in my apartment that I knew I wasn't eating. I confronted my girlfriend who lived.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, we can hear it.
You can't see it.
No.
So that tells me, Scott, I need to, but a minute ago, y'all could see it, but not hear it.
Yeah, briefly, we saw it for a second.
So, okay.
So,
Share screen. I'm just going to say share sound
okay,
and take that off, optimize for video clip.
okay. Yeah, I see your link there.
So I kept on finding food missing in my apartment that I knew.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, we could.
Can you see it?
No.
God.
Don't panic.
Okay, so I tell you what. So listen to this blurb, and then I'm going to go back into my PowerPoint, and I'm just going to tell you what happens. Sorry, y'all. That's kind of a bummer. I practiced this at least 1,000 times.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
I wonder, okay. So just listen. Well, that's not. I don't know what it's doing.
I hear somebody walking is what it sounds like.
So I kept on finding food missing in my apartment that I knew I wasn't eating. I confronted my girlfriend who lives with me about it, and she claimed she wasn't eating it. So I decided I'm going to set up a video camera. I'm going to catch her. This is what I found.
All right, did everybody hear that?
Yep.
Yes.
So he's finding food missing in his apartment. He kept finding food missing. He confronted his girlfriend, and she kept denying it. And can y'all see my PowerPoint?
Yes.
Supreme creepy problem
Yeah.
video.
So he kept finding food missing. He confronts his girlfriend, and he said, I'm going to set up a video camera and find out what's going on, because he didn't believe that his girlfriend wasn't taking stuff and being dishonest about it. There are only 2 people who live in the apartment, and so he knows it's not him. She's denying it. So he sets up a video camera, and what he ends up seeing is, after everyone has gone to bed and the kitchen is dark, 2 hours into the video, you see a set of legs come down from the ceiling. And it's like there's a little pantry, and then there's a space above the pantry for like your big pots and stuff that you don't use very often. That space, he doesn't have big pots and pans in it. I don't think they have anything in it, because it's hard to reach. The back panel of that space apparently connected to an area, an attic type area to this particular apartment. Does that make sense? So what you see in the video is two legs coming down.
Yeah.
And she steps onto this, and she's completely silent, never makes a sound. She goes to the refrigerator, she drinks his milk, she gets some things to eat. It looks like she makes a sandwich. She uses the sink. At one point, at one point, you can see her, you're not sure what she's doing, but he comes in with a little bubble that says, she's peeing in my sink. She is using the kitchen. She sits down in the living room and turns on the TV. Only moments later, she hears him waking up in the room. The TV goes off. She goes, makes her way into the kitchen, climbs back on top of the stool, steps on the table. It goes back up into the ceiling. So he catches the frogger. He catches who it is who is eating all his food. And so the girlfriend said, I told you it wasn't me, wasn't me. Where am I going? I'm going forward. All right. I'm sorry that didn't really work out too well for the video. That's kind of a bummer. I have an idea at the end of the presentation. I have an idea of what to do. Let's keep going though. I'm going to let you read that while I take a sip.
You know, this is I've lived in a couple of houses that could be a place froggers could hide, but not our current one. We don't have an attic, and they'd have a hard time getting underneath the crawl space where we're at.
Right. That's a great point, Scott, because the more energy efficient also that I think how houses are made, the less opportunity there is for this sort of thing to occur. However, I mean, never say never. I'll pause here to tell you that I shared it with Scott some time ago that I was working on my doctorate in English at USM Hattiesburg. And I was teaching one of the required survey courses called World Literature. Everybody has to take World Literature. And so it was in one of these auditorium type classrooms. And the janitors kept reporting to the different departments in the humanities, religion, languages, philosophy, English. They kept telling the department chairs, tell your TAs, pick up a little bit. We're finding a lot of trash in this one particular room that everybody uses because it's the auditorium. Tell them to pick your game up. I mean, be neater about stuff. And so they would disseminate that info. We would all look at each other like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I have a pen and a notebook and handouts for the class. I don't bring trash into we didn't know, we didn't know what he was talking about. So long story short, this is back around 2006, 2007, and of course, you remember what happened in 2008. You remember the recession?
Yep.
Of 2008. So things were really tough on people, and they're never harder than they are for students. College student homelessness has been on the rise for well over 2 decades. So long story short, the janitors were discovering trash and and fast food items. And at one point, take a deep breath, at one point, they found feces in the garbage can in the classroom. And when they started scouring every single aisle, looking for what is happening here. So the last seat in the auditorium, the one way in the back that goes all the way around the room, that last piece had an especially large, you could walk behind it. Back there, shoved up under the last row of seating, was a sleeping bag, belongings, toiletries. So someone had been living in the classroom. That is an example of frogging. And I'm guessing that they used the trash can as a toilet because the janitors either customarily or accidentally didn't lock the auditorium, and whoever it was couldn't get out. Because there are bathrooms in the hallway. So that really kind of spotlighted for our college community that, we need to make resources available to our students, a whole host of things. But we can't say, we have no way of knowing whether that individual was a student or not. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, college campuses with all their big classrooms and nooks and crannies. I mean, I guess if I were in need of shelter and I were near a college campus, that to me would be low-hanging fruit. I would start at the college campus and find me a space. There's a story about a guy who he was working at a shopping mall, one of the stores at the shopping mall. Well, he got fired, and he proceeded to find a dwelling, which was sort of like a receiving area for trucks, for goods to enter the mall. And this particular bay, this receiving area, wasn't being used at the time. All deliveries were coming through another bay. So this guy set up his house there. And didn't have income incoming. And so he just never left the mall and lived in the receiving bay until he was discovered. So I'm going to let you read that for a moment, the difference between phroggers and squatters.
Yeah, quite a difference.
Yes. So your squatters want you to see, they want to be seen because they're trying to assert their rights to a space that they feel they could pursue as legal owners of. So they're not hiding. They're out for everybody to know this is mine, not phroggers. Phroggers don't want anybody to find them. So you can call the police and have a frog removed because it is trespassing. There's no two ways about it. But again, squatters do have some protected legal rights and must be legally evicted. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about, and I don't use this term as derogatorily as it sounds, we're talking about parasites, right? You have a host, and then you have parasites that latch on and feed off the host. That's in essence what a frogger is. They're not necessarily there to do any harm whatsoever or even be found out. It's to their advantage that they aren't discovered. right? They're going to move on eventually, because every day they stay, what happens? The risk goes up, because here's why that's so. You say, well, why would that be? If they have a routine where they know exactly where to go and when to come down and not get caught, why would the potentiality of being discovered go up? Here's why it increases. Because the more routine their movements become, the more they can nail down your routine, the more comfortable they become at moving around a dwelling, the lazier and more careless they get. So because they're confident that they start to make little mistakes and take chances. Just like that guy Theodore, who thought he heard the door closed and Peter went out for lunch. He didn't hear anything. Peter was downstairs asleep on the sofa. So he got careless. He thought, I know what that sound is. No, you didn't. You may have heard the door slam, but you didn't see Peter leave the house. So he got busted. That's how frogs get caught. So I think one of the reasons they move from pad to pad is to forestall, is to stymie that reality. Because if they get busted, the cops are getting called and they're going in. That is a dwelling they don't want, right? Jail. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So why is it a thing? Economic and cultural factors conspire together to make renting and home ownership just extremely difficult in certain cases. We often say, perhaps home ownership, being a homeowner isn't for everyone. Perhaps not everybody can become a homeowner. Well, there are people for whom renting an apartment, even on, if you make slightly too much money to qualify for a government grant that gets you into a low-income housing, you might make just enough not to qualify. Those people fall through the cracks. That's the kind of thing we're talking about. Increased housing costs. Inflation makes a difference. There was a lot of unemployment caused by COVID-19. There are many incidents reported in the news during quarantine. Because remember, everybody's at home now. It's harder. It naturally makes sense that it would be harder to occupy a home if everybody's staying home, right? You can't come down out of the ceiling and move around the house if you got everybody in there watching Days of Their Lives. Days of Your Lives. Right? I mean, people are home all day long, so it's a hard thing to do. Lots of homelessness, lots of froggers. So I'm going to share with you some real life testimonials. Bonnie said about a year ago, with the price of renting now, this is starting to look like an excellent idea. People are being priced out of the market. Apartments used to be $400, $500, $650, $700 a month. The cost of renting a basic apartment is now over $1,100. In most areas, you can pay up to they're asking $1,500, $1,600. In my area, Mississippi, where the cost of living is dramatically lower than relevant to the rest of the country, are asking, and they're getting it, $1,400, $1,500, $1,600 a month rent. We pay less than that for our 3,000 square foot home. So you can start to see why this sounds more necessary and attractive than one might have initially thought. Here's the Frogs Code. Take a look. Any thoughts about these that you guys have? Why shouldn't they steal beyond basic needs? Why do you think?
They would consider that as being a thief. And they don't want to be a thief.
Yeah, they don't care about being a thief. They know they're thieves.
Well,
Not
there-
in the sense of the legal thief, that a thief goes into it just to steal something. They don't go in just to steal something.
They don't, well, they go into,
Occupy space.
but they're occupying the space in order to steal the things they need to survive. So you're
But-
right. Legally, you're right. Legally, they don't want to go to jail for theft. They don't steal because then people, the homeowners start going, where's my watch? I just wore my gold watch yesterday. I put my watches in the same place every day. What is happening here? It alerts people. They start to become aware. The frogs mission is to not even be on the radar, right? They're just peaceably coexisting. So they'll take food and things that are hard to trace. Water, they'll take a shower, but they're not going to go raid your closet and take things to the pawn shop, because that way, then you're alerting the homeowners. You're putting yourself in jeopardy if you do that, right?
But most of us, not all of us, but most of us, if they would just ask us for the food or maybe a place to sleep for the night, we'd more than likely give it to them.
Well, don't think for 1 second they don't know that they can go to a shelter. They know that. There are resources available all over the place. Maybe there isn't a shelter within the square mileage. I find it hard to believe that the thing about shelters is they have rules and codes. They have rules. You have to be out at 7 a.m. You have to fill out paperwork. You have way easier to some people to just bypass that headache altogether. And you can keep on moving, right? Let's say you want to get to California from Florida. You can frog your way to the West Coast if you had to. I very much imagine that this is the kind of activity at which one becomes better over time, right? You're breaking and entering. You're trespassing. It's a criminal skill that one hones over time. You create awarenesses and perceptions of things that you wouldn't cultivate otherwise. So it's like driving a car. I mean, you used to take a driver's test, but nobody gives you a driver's test 5 years into driving, because you always become better over time, unless you're like drinking and driving or something like that, right? So these folks know the deal. They know they could go to a shelter.
One thing on this is that I see is that
Yeah.
things they're stealing are things they have to have. They have to have food. They have to have water. They have to have toiletries. They're not stealing your watch or your wallet or anything like that because, I guess, they're just stealing the things they have to have.
I think that's a great point. Yeah, I mean, humans will always find a way to get those needs met. And this is one of those, is a phenomenon that points to that cleverness and ingenuity, that survival instinct as a human being, I think. Okay, anybody see themselves in the risk zone here? This also is a good opportunity to remind, you know how people say if you're going on vacation, don't post it online. Don't go on Facebook and say, getting ready for my cruise, getting ready for my, we're going to Hawaii, woohoo. Post your pictures after you get home. Don't announce to the world that you're leaving, because you're announcing your vacancy. That was part of my cybersecurity presentation. Don't tell people you're not at home. You're just inviting people to come check out your space, right? And take advantage, exploit the fact that you're not there.
Leah, when you talked about this vacation home, so we don't have a vacation home, but we had a travel trailer, a nice travel trailer.
Yeah.
At times I did not have it locked, and I went out one time and nobody had slept in the bed, but it looked like somebody had slept on the bed, because the blankets were a little bit wrinkled. And
Yep.
so maybe somebody just took a night or two and decided to spend the night there.
Shelter, a soft pallet.
Yeah.
I mean, even that, what hurts my heart about that, Scott, is that even those two things, a tin roof and a soft pallet, that there are people all over the world that don't even have that. And at the end of the day, we all want the same things: healthy children, enough water to drink, things that we have to survive. Some of us don't even have the minimum. We don't even have the basics. So you can absolutely, and you should absolutely call the authorities to report and remove a frog. I believe I'm going to touch on in just a couple of slides. I actually recommend not confronting a frog, because you don't know who that person is. You don't know if they're violent. You don't know why they're homeless. You don't know anything about them. I would play dumb that I did not just see you run from the bathroom up my stairs, and I would be dialing 911 and keeping in low measured tones. May I please get an officer out here? I think there's someone living in my ceiling. That's what I'll do. Because you don't want to meet these folks in a dark hallway, right? They have a lot on the line. They don't want to meet you either.
I would say vacate the building or the premises out of earshot when you make a phone call like that.
Exactly. Good point. Take your cell phone out down the driveway. Go to a neighbor's house. Right. They don't want confrontation, and they don't want to feel threatened.
You don't know what mental health issues they have.
That's precisely right. You don't know why they're homeless. And there are very well established, oft reported on links between homelessness and mental illness. Doesn't mean everybody, but that is very solid longitudinal research documenting the persistence and the occurrence of mental illness among unhoused citizens. So this is just a little thing I grabbed. There was a family in northern Nevada was living in this children's museum with a stash of weapons. They worked there. They were employees there. They were just not going home at night. So they just moved in. Why did they need a stash of weapons? Ooh. We can only imagine. So there are certain categories, and I'm going to push forward a little faster because I know we got stuff to do, and y'all are pay very good attention, but I want to get you through this. So there are certain categories. I don't know if they're real. I sort of made up these categories because it seemed to me that there's a division among the types of phroggers. I call the first group intentional phroggers. They mean to do what they're doing. They're phrogging. They need help. About 15 years ago, we went away for about a week and a half for Christmas. I'm reading the rest. On our way home, when we were nearly to our driveway, there was a horrible chemical smell. Someone had been using our kitchen as a meth lab. Everybody know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah.
Methamphetamine, a drug lab. They could smell it coming up the walkway. This happened to me. The lady was sitting in her daughter's closet. Now she's wearing a mask. So we don't know what she was doing. The mom seems to think that she was there to kidnap her daughter, but why are you going to be sitting in the closet first thing in the morning? If you were there at night and you're there in the morning, what are you up to? Are you thinking no one will open the closet? Just strange, strange. People in the South do it a lot, y'all. I don't know about people above the Mason-Dixon line or out west or Midwest, but we wear a lot of sandals because it's so hot, and we're good buddies. We got good neighbors, hey y'all. And we go door to door, and we don't lock our doors at every turn. We got porch, screen porch doors that you can come on in the back door. Family uses if you're friends, your family use the back door, come on in. Guess what? It's something to think about. My Mimi in Macomb, Mississippi, we would pile into her little car and run to Rose's. Did y'all have a little department store called Rose's? We used to run to Rose's. I never saw that woman lock a door. I was in college. I never saw her lock a door. So those sort of, I'll call them licenses. You're taking liberties with your security. I won't call it careless, but somebody else might call it careless. I mean, people, it's an opportunity. Let's put it that way. All right, take a look at that. I'm not going to read to y'all like your little children, so take a look at the screen, okay? See, checking to see if people's doors were unlocked. Just checking doors. So he says, I did this back when I was homeless. He's homeless. He's just walking around twisting doorknobs, looking for a space. Lets himself in. So under the umbrella of you can't be too careful, right? Lock your doors.
That's one thing about if you have a jail or a penitentiary or something close to you, people do escape.
Yes, they do. As we very well know, right? The big New York escapees and Dannemora a couple of years ago, right? Those two convicts, they were going door to door. The police were searching houses, lock your doors, lock your windows. Cabins in the mountains, they were looking for empty cabins. Hunting cabins, vacation homes during the fall, things like this. And in fact, the prisoners stopped at several of those to rest, to frog. They were frogging. I did this accidentally when I was suffering from alcohol withdrawals. Walked straight in. I just remember the torment fading and the exhaustion hitting me like a truck. Here's the rest. I woke up and drank some more, still confused, sat down in their living room and watched TV and helped myself to some whiskey. I crashed on the sofa again, woke up to a middle-aged guy rattling in horror. Everything went fine and we're good friends now. I made sure to compensate for everything. He says it sounded like a bear was snoring in his living room, so he assumed it was the dog. The funny thing is, it turns out I was chilling with his dog without a care. So he's in there watching TV with the dog, just minding his own business. Again, walked straight into someone else's house because why? The door was unlocked. Once I woke up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, read this and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Nathan said I could. Who's Nathan? Who are you? Who's Nathan? Again, how did this guy get in? I'm sure the door was, you start to see the pattern after several of these. I've done this before, kind of. I was dating this, I think it says girl. I got to move my thing up here. I was dating this girl. I was in a bad spot. There you go. Anyways, her roommate hated my guts. Here's the rest. So I basically snuck into my girlfriend's room every night through the window. Of course, my girlfriend was there with me, but it was still stressful, and we had to whisper and pretend I wasn't there. I'm in a lot better place now and can't imagine ever living like this again. Right? But intentionally frogging. Got myself a dog, so I don't worry about this anymore. I had to have been sleepwalking. I let him out back, the dog, and left the sliding glass door open doors, right? Here's the rest. The next thing I know, I wake up and Gus, my pup, best guess is, oh, forget that. My pup is next to me in bed and growling menacingly. It took me 5 seconds or so to realize that I had never heard him growl like that and that he seems to be looking towards the foot of my bed. So I inch closer in that direction. Sure enough, my friend and neighbor's miserable old cat is in my bedroom. Not even speaking about physical protection, just advanced warning of an intruder is extremely valuable. So that one falls under, oh yeah, there it is, pet frogging. Yeah, so sometimes pets like to hang out in other people's homes. So I thought that was a kind of fun one. There's one, here's one. Desperate froggers. Oh, here's a good quote from Patrick Bateman. Go ahead and read that. I thought this was a good point. He's using the term squatter, but we know he means frogger. What do you guys think about that?
I think there was an instance of a parent accidentally shooting their child because the child came earlier in the middle of the night and did not announce himself, and the the parent thought it was an intruder.
Exactly.
So stand your ground. Yeah,
that's right.
It was tragic.
That's horrible. I thought that was a good point. So my mom told me a story about a woman she knew who was house sitting for her parents. And between the time she got to their house and her parents leaving, there you go. Who commented on the prisoner a moment ago?
I did.
Yes, escaped and broke into the house and snuck into the roof space. Here's the rest. She noticed the manhole cover on the ceiling wasn't fully in its place. That's sloppy, right? That's what we were talking about. When she had previously seen that it was, which was confusing to her. She took notice of the fact that isn't how I left that. Later, when she heard the news about the prisoner, she went outside and called the police, who told her to stay out of the house. They came and took him away. I think he might have been a murderer. So, yeah, desperate frogs. This is a young man that was charged and convicted of, I'm not entirely sure what happened to him, but they found the police did a sketch to understand where he had been living. LaPlante's secret hiding place. Here's a wall, concrete foundation, a wall inside the wall. Looks like a bathroom. Entry made by climbing up onto a 4-foot-high foundation and jumping down to open space. So like off in the corner, you could go up and just drop down there and no one could see you. So what do you do if you think you might have a frog?
Well, you could call the police, but you can also set up cameras.
Cameras are, I liked this quote. She said, I don't know who it is, this person, I don't know who it is, but I know there's somebody. Do you know that feeling you get? You ever had that feeling like you're being watched? There's really something to that, as it turns out. Here are some signs that you're being actively frogged. People have reported hearing low music from somewhere, right? Muffled voices. Things missing or moved. That's one we've touched on. Feelings like you're being watched. Belongings that are not yours is an interesting one. Like a frog has come into the dwelling space, brought something out, and then forgotten to take it back up with them. The owner comes home. That happened in the short story that I posted. The person was using her address as the frog's own mailing address, and boxes were showing up, right? That the current renter had no idea why she was getting this stuff. She would come home and find dish towels that had been taken out of the drawer, left over by the refrigerator instead of the sink. Yeah. Like having a roommate, right? Like having a silent roommate. So verify their presence. I mean, I would be cautious about investigating, but I wouldn't just call the police and say, I heard a strange noise. Can you come see if there's a frog here? I mean, you kind of want to establish a pattern, like do a little homework and have like, so that you're in earnest when you call police and say, here are the things that are happening. Here's why I think this. So that's what I mean by verify their presence. Maybe you find a space and you find soda cans and food wrappers and glasses, Sonic cups, fast food stuff. Maybe that's how you verify the presence that someone has been there. Make notes and reinforce home security. Up here, signs that you're being frogged, what to do, Reinforce home security, cameras and camera footage, number one. We use Ring, like your Ring doorbell, you know, and we have that inside. We have a little thing that goes with it that is a motion detector. Do not ask me how it tells the difference between our two dogs and people who shouldn't be in the house. Do not ask me. I have no way. I'm not techie enough to understand. But so far, so good.
Well, Bonnie and we have 10 cameras around the outside of our house. We don't have anything on the inside, but you're not coming in this house or around this house without being on there.
That's perfect. That's perfect. My aunt and uncle in the Georgia mountains, I'm gonna have to check on them because I think they got slammed by this this last storm. They were having trouble with their mail. They were coming home from eating lunch and finding all of their mail in the middle of the street. Somebody was going down, plundering people's mailboxes. So they have a security camera and a doorbell connected to their mailbox now, and they can see when it's time to go out and get the mail. But any kind of surveillance like that that lets you know who's on your property doing what is always beneficial, I think.
I
Now,
think another thing is with home security is that be mindful of leaving garage doors, especially if you're in the backyard and your garage door is open, or if you park your vehicles on the driveway instead of inside with a closed door, you have your garage door opener. They, you know.
that's exactly right.
And
That's a great
sometimes in the
point.
garages, they have access to the attic.
Exactly. That's a great point about the garage door opener. They can grab that, get in, scurry up into your attic. You'll never know the difference. That's an excellent point. If I had more time, I would, well, I'll just tell you quickly. A couple of mine, the couple who lives in Eugene, Oregon, Diamondhead is a golf community. They had their golf clubs, his and hers, on the back of the golf cart in their driveway, getting ready to go play 9 holes. They run in, they make a sandwich, they eat lunch, they come back out. The golf clubs are gone. They were parked up in the front of their own driveway, in the front, not like down by the street. You know who had been by 30 minutes before? This is our suspicion. It was garbage day. And we think that the garbage men took note of that and made some phone calls. That's what we think. And those clubs were gone like that. So that's not to impugn waste management workers all over. That's just our suspicion, because it was a notable day, and this couple had noticed they noticed that the people on the garbage truck were noticing them. That's why it's their theory. So do with that what you will. But yeah, you can't assume anything anymore, right? You can assume nothing. All right, read that for me. Take a read and we'll talk. The fact that she refers to the tweaker on the staircase tells us what?
The staircase is creaking.
Exactly. And he's a tweaker, so he's on drugs and he's looking for a place to live. Creepy. Okay, I'm going to let you read that. The key part is highlighted for you, but this is from Australia, letting us know, right, that this is not a this is not a phenomenon peculiar to a certain area. So how did they discover him?
Just careless and left the water running upstairs, up in the
Careless.
ceiling.
Exactly right. Exactly what we were saying. He left the water running. So in here, frogging sort of intersects with squatting, doesn't it? Because he says he's delivering mail here now, and they think he was getting ready to build a case as a squatter, and squatters have legal rights. So here's the bottom line. It doesn't matter what you call it. Occupying someone's home without permission is a felony. Whether you're breaking and entering or you're trespassing, you're going to be charged, and you're going to go to jail. And froggers understand this fact. So their goal is to not intimidate, largely, not threaten. Their goal is to just live peaceably around the host family, minding their own business. I'm not sure whether that should make us feel better or worse that we don't know they're there. But definitely security is the way to go, to start with a clean house, free of frogs, and keep it that way, with security and vigilance and locking doors and not leaving your garage door, your garage door up. I worry all the time. I tell my husband, I gripe at him all the time. You know what happened to, I won't say their names, their golf clubs. Your golf club's right there. My mountain bike is right there. And let me tell you how I love my mountain bike. You can just inviting people to zip in, take what they want, and zip out. So I'm kind of a garage down kind of girl for that reason. For more true crime on frogging, please check out I Live in Your House and You Don't Know It. And this is a link that'll jump you to several stories. I hope that when you post the recording of this video, I want to talk to you about that. It could be that when it's recorded and I'm not involved and I'm offline, the link might actually work. It's a link to YouTube. It could be that the link will work and you guys will get to see the film that I was trying to show you. It is the essence of frogging. It is a real life, real time video of a frog in action. So maybe we can talk about how to insert that link or make that link operational for posting when you post it.
Okay, if you'll send me that link,
Yes, sir.
Link, then I'll actually make a little tab on the web page where people could actually click on it right there.
That'd be perfect.
Okay.
So I hope to thank you, everybody. I appreciate you. Thanks for your attention. That was a little longer than I had planned. Stay tuned soon for Where's Brandon, and I'll let you read that little blurb.
And yeah, and I think you're going to do that. Well, either January or February, I think.
Yes, it's a two-part. It's a two-part presentation about this student who never makes it home, despite the fact that he's talking to his parents as he's driving. They never see him again. So it is gripping, it's visceral, and a perfect topic to kind of play what if, practice our theories, bounce ideas off each other. I hope you'll join me.
Okay, and that's gonna be
Leah.
January and February, so.
Is it January and February?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll be in at the Diamondhead Library by then.
I'm January 2nd, and then that'll be a Thursday because I don't think anybody wants to come on January 1st, New Year's Day.
No,
And then February,
no one I
February 5th.
no one I know. Well, thank you guys. Again, that's part of my True Crime Mondays thing. Happy fall, y'all, from Mississippi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You stop sharing your screen and we'll see everybody.
Ah.
And tell them goodbye.
Okay, very good. Let me get off this now.
There you go.
Thank
you
you,
for being
everyone.
here, and thank
Ah.
you very much, Leah, for that. And it'll probably
Did-
take me a couple of days. I'm really busy. I got to leave right after we get here.
Sure.
We'll ref volleyball.
Did y'all enjoy that?
Oh, I loved it.
Yes, thank you.
It was
Loved
better
it
than the
and-
first
and
time I
learned a
saw.
lot.
Okay, good. I didn't want it to weird everyone out, but it's just good to have on your radar, I think. Scott,
Agreed.
thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. And I just want to remind everyone, I do need more presenters, but actually, due to just some wonderful people, if you want to present, the first opening I got is April. And that's wonderful. I'll see you guys next month. I'll be sending out the stuff in a couple of days, the invitation.
Do you know what it is for next month, Scott?
Yeah, I'm looking right here on my screen, and actually it is I don't know the subject right now. I'd have to go look in my computer, but it's
Okay.
a gal named Tanya Hartig, and I don't have the subject right here in front of me. I just have a little note on my to-do thing, and I don't write out the whole thing. But anyway, I'll be contacting her and getting the description, the little blurb, and the bio. So thank you very much.
That's great.
Yeah,
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate y'all. Bye, Miss Linda. Bye, Wanda.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Miss Linda.
All of you have a blessed weekend.
Oh,
too.
you
Thank you.
too. You too. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate
you.
y'all. Thank you, Scott.
Yep. Thank you.
I'll send you the link in an email
Perfect.
and I'll let you take it from there. How about that?
All right. I'll let you know when it's up.
All right.